Ikigai, the Japanese secret to a long and meaningful life. Take a deep breath. Slow down. This is not a video to rush through. This is a space to reflect, to listen, and to reconnect with yourself. In Japan, there is a word that has no perfect translation in any other language. A word that carries quiet strength, gentle clarity, and deep purpose. That word is Ikigai. Ikigai means a reason to live, a reason to wake up in the morning, a reason to keep going even when life feels heavy. For some, Ikigai is found in work. For others, it is found in relationships, creativity, service, or simple daily rituals. And for many, Ikigai is not something loud or dramatic. It is subtle. It is personal. It is quietly powerful. In the modern world, we are often taught to chase success, money, recognition, and speed. But Ikigai teaches something very different. It teaches us to live slowly, to live intentionally, to live with meaning. In the town of Okinawa, Japan, people live some of the longest lives on earth. They are not obsessed with retirement. They do not rush to escape work. They stay active, engaged, and connected well into old age. Why? Because they have Ikigai. They wake up knowing they are needed. They wake up knowing their life still matters. Ikigai is not about finding one big purpose and forcing your entire life around it. It is about discovering what gives your life energy and aligning your days with it. It is about balance between passion and patience, between effort and rest, between ambition and peace. Many people believe they are lost, but most of the time they are simply disconnected from themselves. Ikigai brings you back. It reminds you that meaning is not found only in achievements. It is found in how you live, how you treat others, how you treat yourself. In Japanese culture, there is deep respect for consistency, doing small things every day with care and attention. This is called living with intention. Ikigai grows in those small moments, in preparing tea, in caring for a garden, in helping someone without expecting anything in return, in practicing a skill simply because it feels right. You do not need to change your entire life overnight to find Ikigai. You only need to start paying attention. Pay attention to what energizes you instead of draining you. Pay attention to moments when time seems to disappear. Pay attention to what feels meaningful even when it is difficult. Ikigai often hides in plain sight. It is already part of your life. You just haven't named it yet. In the chapters ahead, we will explore how Ikigai is discovered, how it is cultivated, and how it can quietly transform the way you live, work, and think. This is not about motivation. This is about alignment. Not about pushing harder, but about living truer. Let this audiobook be a slow walk, not a sprint. Let the words sink in. Let them sit with you. Because Ikigai is not something you find once. It is something you live every day.
The idea of Ikigai becomes clearer when we slow down and observe daily life. It is not something hidden far away or reserved for a chosen few. Ikigai often lives quietly inside ordinary routines. It appears when you wake up with a sense of curiosity, when your hands move naturally toward work that feels meaningful, and when time seems to soften because you are fully present. In Okinawan culture, where the concept of Ikigai is deeply rooted, life is not rushed. People move with intention, not urgency. They believe that purpose is not a destination, but a way of living. A farmer tends to the soil not just to harvest crops, but to honor a relationship with the land. An artist paints not for recognition, but for the joy of expression. This gentle devotion to everyday actions is where Ikigai quietly grows. Another important element of Ikigai is connection. Purpose does not exist in isolation. It is shaped through relationships, shared meals, conversations, and moments of mutual care. When people feel needed, when their presence matters to others, their sense of meaning deepens. Even small acts, like listening attentively or offering help without being asked, can reinforce the feeling that life has value. Ikigai is also closely connected to resilience. Life inevitably brings difficulty, loss, and uncertainty. Those who live with Ikigai do not avoid hardship, but they face it with steadiness. They understand that pain does not cancel purpose. Instead, challenges often refine it. When you know why you wake up each morning, endurance becomes easier and suffering becomes more bearable. Flow plays a quiet but powerful role in discovering Ikigai. Flow is the state where effort feels natural and concentration feels effortless. When you are absorbed in an activity that aligns with your inner values, the outside world fades. These moments are not loud or dramatic. They are calm, focused, and deeply satisfying. Over time, repeated moments of flow point gently toward your purpose. Health and longevity are not pursued aggressively in the philosophy of Ikigai. Instead of extreme discipline, balance is valued. Movement is gentle and consistent. Eating is mindful and moderate. Rest is respected. When the body is treated with care, the mind remains clear, and purpose can be sustained across years rather than burned out quickly. Ikigai does not demand perfection. It allows room for imperfection and growth. You do not need to have everything figured out to live meaningfully. Purpose can evolve as you do. What matters is staying engaged with life, remaining curious, and choosing presence over distraction. As you reflect on Ikigai, you begin to notice subtle signals, the activities that energize you rather than drain you, the moments when you feel quietly proud rather than loudly impressed, the sense of fulfillment that lingers even after the task is complete. These signals are gentle guides, not commands. Living with Ikigai means honoring small joys, a warm cup of tea, morning light through a window, a task completed with care. These moments may seem insignificant, but together they create a life that feels grounded and worthwhile. Purpose, in this sense, is not something to chase, it is something to cultivate. When attention is placed on daily effort, sincere relationships, and inner alignment, Ikigai begins to reveal itself naturally. Take your time with this understanding. Let it settle slowly. Ikigai is patient. It does not rush you. It waits for you to listen.
Ikigai is not something you chase in a loud or dramatic way. It is something you slowly uncover by paying attention to how you live each ordinary day. In Okinawa, where the idea of Ikigai comes from, people do not rush life. They wake up with a sense of purpose, even if that purpose is small. Tending a garden, preparing food with care, teaching a skill to someone younger, listening deeply to another human being. Their lives are not defined by big achievements, but by consistency, connection, and meaning. Ikigai often lives quietly in routines, in the moments where time seems to disappear, in the work that feels natural rather than forced, in the feeling that what you are doing matters, even if no one is watching. Many people believe they must first discover their passion before life begins, but Ikigai teaches the opposite. You begin by living fully, and meaning slowly reveals itself. When you do something that aligns with your Ikigai, your body feels calm, your mind feels focused. You are not distracted by comparison or urgency. There is a sense of rightness, even during effort. This is why people with Ikigai often live longer, not because they avoid hardship, but because they have a reason to face it. They wake up knowing why the day matters. Ikigai is shaped by 4 invisible forces in your life: what you enjoy doing, what you are good at, what helps others, what gives you a sense of contribution. When these forces overlap, even gently, life feels balanced. But Ikigai does not demand perfection. It does not require all answers at once. It grows through small adjustments, honest reflection, and patience. In modern life, many people feel lost because they are disconnected from themselves. They move too fast to listen. They consume too much to feel satisfied. They chase validation instead of fulfillment. Ikigai invites you to slow down, to notice what energizes you instead of what drains you, to recognize which activities make you forget the clock, to observe when you feel most like yourself. This awareness is the beginning. In Japanese culture, there is deep respect for mastery. People dedicate their entire lives to improving a single craft, not for fame or money, but for meaning. This dedication brings joy. It gives structure to life. It creates pride without arrogance. Ikigai is often found at the intersection of discipline and joy. Not constant excitement, but steady engagement. Even difficult work can be meaningful when it serves something larger than ego. Another essential part of Ikigai is community. People with strong Ikigai rarely live in isolation. They maintain close relationships. They eat together. They share stories. They support one another through challenges. Purpose grows stronger when it is connected to others. Loneliness weakens the spirit. Connection strengthens it. Ikigai is also supported by simplicity. Okinawan lifestyles are modest. They eat lightly. They move their bodies naturally. They rest without guilt. Their lives are not cluttered with unnecessary desires. This simplicity creates space for clarity. When you remove excess, meaning becomes visible. Ikigai does not promise happiness every day, but it offers something more stable, a reason to continue, a reason to care, a reason to wake up. And that reason does not need to be extraordinary. Sometimes Ikigai is simply becoming a little better than yesterday, being kinder than before, showing up even when it is difficult. It is not about the destination, it is about how you walk each step. If you feel lost, Ikigai reminds you that being lost is not failure. It is part of the journey toward alignment. You are allowed to change. Your purpose can evolve. What mattered before may no longer serve you, and that is natural. Ikigai grows with you. It listens to your experiences. It adapts to your seasons of life. When you stop forcing answers and start paying attention, Ikigai begins to speak, quietly, gently, through daily actions rather than sudden revelations. Purpose is not found in the future. It is built in the present, and every moment you live with awareness brings you closer to it.
Ikigai is not something you chase in one dramatic moment. It reveals itself quietly, through the way you live each day. In the Japanese philosophy behind Ikigai, purpose is not separated from daily life. It is woven into routine, patience, and presence. The people of Okinawa, where this concept is deeply rooted, do not rush toward happiness. They move slowly, deliberately, and with intention.
They wake up with a reason, however small, and that reason pulls them gently into the day. Ikigai can be found in caring for a garden, preparing a meal, teaching a child, or mastering a simple craft. It does not need applause. It does not need validation. It only needs consistency. Many people believe purpose must be grand, a career, a title, a big achievement. But Ikigai teaches something very different. Purpose can be quiet. Purpose can be ordinary. Purpose can live inside repetition. When you commit yourself fully to what you are doing right now, you begin to feel a subtle satisfaction. That feeling is not excitement. It is calm alignment. It is the feeling of being exactly where you are meant to be. Ikigai grows when you give your full attention to the present moment, when you stop dividing your life into future dreams and past regrets, when your mind rests in what your hands are doing. In Japanese culture, there is deep respect for mastery, not mastery for fame, but mastery for fulfillment, doing one thing well, with care, for a lifetime. A craftsman does not rush his work. A teacher does not measure success by recognition. A cook finds pride in perfecting simple flavors. This devotion is not forced. It flows naturally when you feel connected to what you do. Ikigai also teaches balance, not extremes, not burnout, not obsession. True purpose supports life rather than consuming it. It allows rest. It allows joy. It allows health. People who live with Ikigai do not retire from life. They continue contributing in small, meaningful ways. They stay curious. They stay engaged. They stay connected to others. Connection is a powerful part of Ikigai. Human beings are not meant to walk alone. Purpose deepens when it is shared. When your actions support someone else's well-being, when your presence matters to a community. Even quiet lives can be deeply purposeful. A smile offered daily, a habit of kindness, a willingness to listen. Ikigai is strengthened when you stop asking, "What should I be?" and start asking, "How can I live today with care?" It is not about finding answers overnight. It is about paying attention. What activities make you lose track of time? What moments feel peaceful rather than draining? What routines give you a sense of meaning even when they are simple? These are signals. These are whispers of Ikigai. As you listen to them, slowly, patiently, your path becomes clearer. Not louder, not faster, but truer. Ikigai does not shout. It waits. And when you are ready, it meets you exactly where you are.
Ikigai is not something you chase aggressively. It is something you uncover slowly, quietly, often without realizing it was there all along. People rarely speak about retirement. Work is not seen as a burden to escape from, but as an extension of life itself. People continue doing what they love for as long as their bodies allow, whether that is farming, teaching, crafting, cooking, or caring for others. This ongoing engagement gives life rhythm, a reason to wake up, a reason to move, a reason to feel needed. Ikigai lives in this sense of usefulness, not usefulness measured by money or recognition, but usefulness felt deep inside, the feeling that your presence matters, even in small ways. Many people believe purpose must be something grand, a big mission, a dramatic calling. But Ikigai teaches a different truth. Purpose often hides in the ordinary. It lives in preparing a meal with care, in listening fully when someone speaks, in practicing a skill a little better each day, in showing up consistently even when no one is watching.
The people studied in the villages of Okinawa did not describe their lives as extraordinary. They described them as meaningful. That difference matters. Meaning does not demand perfection. It asks only for presence. Ikigai also teaches patience. In Japanese culture, mastery is respected deeply. People dedicate decades to refining a single craft, not to become famous, but to honor the process. This idea is reflected in the concept of slow improvement, a commitment to small daily progress, doing something a little better today than yesterday. This mindset reduces stress. It removes the pressure of instant success. It allows joy to emerge naturally from effort. When you focus on steady growth instead of rapid results, the mind becomes calmer, the body follows. Ikigai is closely connected to flow, that state where time seems to disappear, where effort feels light even when the work is demanding. Flow happens when challenge meets skill, not too easy, not too hard. When people find activities that create flow, they often find their Ikigai nearby, because flow reveals where attention feels natural and engagement feels rewarding. The elders of Okinawa spend much of their day in light activity, gardening, walking, stretching, moving without strain. This constant, gentle movement keeps the body alive and flexible. It keeps the mind clear. Ikigai does not separate mental health from physical health. They are seen as one system, supporting each other. Food also plays a role. Eating is mindful. Portions are modest. Meals are shared. There is an awareness of stopping before fullness, of honoring the body instead of overwhelming it. This practice is not driven by diet rules, but by respect. Respect for the body's signals. Respect for balance. Community is another pillar of Ikigai. In Okinawa, people form lifelong social circles, groups that support one another emotionally, financially, and socially. Loneliness is rare because connection is intentional. Ikigai grows stronger in relationships. When people feel seen, heard, and valued, their sense of purpose deepens. Modern life often isolates individuals. Ikigai reminds us that meaning expands when shared. Helping others does not drain purpose, it multiplies it. One of the most powerful lessons from Ikigai is acceptance. Acceptance of aging, acceptance of change, acceptance of imperfection. Rather than fighting time, the elders move with it. They adapt their activities. They shift roles, but they do not abandon purpose. Even when physical strength fades, meaning remains. Teaching, storytelling, guiding the young, offering wisdom. Ikigai evolves with life. It is not fixed. It grows as you grow. For someone young, Ikigai may look like learning and exploration. For someone older, it may look like contribution and legacy. Both are equally valuable. Ikigai also invites reflection, asking gentle questions. What brings calm to your mind? What makes time disappear? What feels worthwhile even when it is difficult? These questions are not meant to be answered quickly. They unfold over time. Rushing purpose only creates anxiety. Allowing it to emerge creates clarity. Ikigai does not demand that you change your entire life overnight. It asks you to listen more closely to the life you already have, to notice what energizes you, to reduce what drains you, to protect what matters. When aligned with Ikigai, life feels lighter, not easier, but more meaningful. Challenges still exist, pains still appear, but suffering becomes purposeful rather than random. Ikigai gives direction during uncertainty. It anchors the mind when circumstances change.
It reminds you that meaning is not found at the destination, but in the way you walk the path. And slowly, quietly, without force, life begins to feel whole.
Ikigai is not something you suddenly discover in one dramatic moment. It is something that quietly reveals itself when you begin to pay attention to how you live each day. In Japan, people do not rush to find their purpose. They allow it to grow. They allow it to mature through daily actions, simple habits, and sincere effort. Purpose is not always loud. Often it is soft. Often it whispers instead of shouting. When you wake up in the morning, what gives you a reason to stand up? Not what society expects from you, not what others tell you to chase, but what genuinely makes your life feel worth continuing. Ikigai lives in those small answers. Many people believe purpose must be something grand, a huge achievement, a famous career, a life that looks impressive from the outside. But the Japanese understanding of Ikigai teaches something very different. Your purpose might be caring for someone. It might be creating something quietly. It might be improving a skill every day. It might be serving others in ways that never make headlines. Ikigai does not ask you to become extraordinary. It asks you to be sincere. When you live sincerely, meaning follows naturally. One of the most powerful lessons from Ikigai is the idea of slow living. In many parts of the world, speed is praised, doing more, achieving faster, reaching goals quickly. But speed often disconnects us from meaning. Ikigai teaches patience. It teaches presence. It teaches depth. When you rush through life, you miss the subtle joys that give life its richness, the taste of a simple meal, the satisfaction of focused work, the peace of routine, the calm of consistency. People who live with Ikigai do not rush to finish life. They savor it. They understand that joy is not something waiting at the finish line. Joy exists in the process. When you slow down, your mind becomes clearer. Your emotions become steadier. Your sense of direction becomes stronger. And in that calm space, purpose begins to appear. Another core idea within Ikigai is devotion to mastery. In Japanese culture, there is deep respect for people who dedicate their lives to improving one craft, not for fame, not for applause, but for the quiet satisfaction of progress. This devotion is called shokunin spirit. It means doing your work with care, with pride, with attention. Whether you are cooking, teaching, cleaning, designing, or creating, your work becomes meaningful when you commit to doing it well. Ikigai is not always about changing what you do. Sometimes it is about how you do it. When you approach your daily tasks with presence and effort, even simple work gains meaning. Purpose grows when you give your best to what is in front of you. Ikigai also teaches the importance of community. Human beings are not meant to live isolated lives. Connection is deeply connected to meaning. In Okinawa, one of the places with the longest living people in the world, strong social bonds are a way of life. People eat together. They support one another. They share responsibility and joy. Loneliness slowly drains meaning from life. Connection restores it. When you feel useful to others, life feels valuable. When you feel seen, life feels real. Ikigai often reveals itself through contribution. Ask yourself gently, who benefits from my presence? Who is helped by what I do? Where do I add value, even in small ways? Purpose is often found not in self-obsession, but in service. Another important lesson from Ikigai is acceptance.
Life is not always comfortable. There will be pain, loss, failure, disappointment. Ikigai does not promise a perfect life. It teaches you how to live well even when life is imperfect. People who live with Ikigai accept hardship as part of existence. They do not resist reality. They adapt. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" they ask, "How can I live meaningfully despite this?" This mindset creates resilience. Purpose does not disappear during hard times. In many cases, it becomes clearer. Pain strips away what is unnecessary and reveals what truly matters. Ikigai also emphasizes balance. Balance between effort and rest, between ambition and contentment, between work and life, between self and others. When life becomes unbalanced, meaning fades. Constant pressure leads to burnout. Constant comfort leads to emptiness. Ikigai lives in the middle.
It encourages effort, but not obsession. Discipline, but not cruelty. Growth, but not comparison. When your life is balanced, your mind becomes peaceful. And in peace, purpose becomes easier to feel. Another subtle but powerful idea is gratitude. People living with Ikigai appreciate what they already have while still improving. They are grateful for health, for time, for relationships, for simple pleasures. Gratitude grounds you in the present moment. When you constantly chase the next thing, you miss the value of now. Ikigai teaches that meaning is not always about more. Sometimes it is about enough. When you realize that your life already contains value, your purpose no longer feels missing. Ikigai also teaches that purpose changes. What gives your life meaning today may not be the same thing tomorrow, and that is okay. Purpose is not fixed, it evolves as you grow. Trying to force one lifelong purpose can create pressure. Ikigai removes that pressure. It invites you to ask again and again, what gives my life meaning right now? This flexibility makes life lighter. It allows growth without fear. Perhaps the most important lesson of Ikigai is this. You do not find purpose by searching endlessly for it. You discover it by living fully, by showing up each day, by caring, by learning, by contributing, by being present. Purpose is not a destination, it is a way of living. When you live with attention, sincerity, and balance, meaning naturally follows. Ikigai is not something you chase far away. It is something you uncover slowly, quietly, patiently. Many people believe purpose must arrive like a sudden revelation, a dramatic moment, a clear calling. But Ikigai works differently. It reveals itself through daily actions, through consistency, through small joys repeated over time. In Japan, people do not ask, "What is my passion?" They ask, "What makes me wake up in the morning?" Purpose is not always loud. Sometimes it whispers. When you observe people who live long, meaningful lives, you notice something simple. They are deeply involved in what they do. They move with intention. They give full attention to small tasks, cooking, gardening, teaching, repairing, listening. These activities may look ordinary from the outside, but inside they create fulfillment. Ikigai grows when you are present. One of the biggest obstacles to finding meaning is distraction. Modern life pulls attention in many directions. Endless scrolling, constant comparison, noise without rest. Ikigai requires silence, not the absence of sound, but the absence of inner chaos. When the mind slows down, you start noticing what energizes you and what drains you.
Pay attention to how you feel after certain activities. Some leave you tired. Some leave you calm. Some leave you fulfilled. Your Ikigai hides in those moments. Another important idea within Ikigai is devotion to mastery. Not perfection, not fame, but improvement.
People with strong Ikigai enjoy the process itself. They are not obsessed with the outcome. They show up, they practice, they refine, day after day. This creates confidence, and confidence creates meaning. When you get better at something that matters to you, life feels purposeful. Ikigai also teaches patience. A meaningful life is not built quickly. It is shaped slowly, like clay. Some days feel productive, some days feel empty. Both are part of the path. When you stop rushing toward happiness, you start recognizing it in the present moment. Purpose does not demand urgency. It asks for consistency. Another key lesson from Ikigai is connection. Meaning grows stronger when shared. Helping others, teaching, supporting, contributing. You do not need a grand mission. You only need to be useful in a way that feels natural to you. Small contributions matter. A kind word, a reliable presence, honest effort. These are powerful. Ikigai reminds us that work and life do not have to be enemies. When what you do aligns with who you are, effort becomes satisfying instead of exhausting. This does not mean every day is easy. It means every day feels worth it. Meaning is not about avoiding struggle. It is about choosing the struggle that feels meaningful. Many people feel lost because they search for purpose in the future. Ikigai asks you to look at the present. What do you enjoy doing, even when no one is watching? What activities make time disappear? What makes you feel quietly proud? These are clues. Purpose is revealed through action, not thinking alone. Ikigai also embraces simplicity. You do not need more to feel fulfilled. You need alignment. When your actions, values, and energy move in the same direction, life becomes lighter, less conflict, less confusion, more clarity. Another powerful lesson is acceptance of impermanence. Life changes, roles change, goals evolve. Ikigai is flexible, it adapts. What gives you meaning today may not be the same tomorrow, and that's okay. Purpose grows with you. The people who live longest and happiest lives do not retire from purpose. They stay curious, they stay active, they stay engaged. Ikigai is not about stopping, it is about continuing to learn, continuing to contribute, continuing to care. As you move through life, you may lose direction at times. That does not mean you lost your Ikigai. It means it is being reshaped. Periods of confusion often come before periods of clarity. Trust the process. Ikigai does not demand that you change everything overnight. It invites you to adjust gently. One habit, one choice, one shift in attention. Over time, these small changes create a meaningful life. As we come to the end of this journey, remember this. Ikigai is not something you suddenly find one day like a hidden treasure. It is something you grow into, quietly, patiently, through daily life. Your purpose does not always arrive with loud clarity. Most of the time, it whispers. It lives in the small things you do when no one is watching, in the work you return to even when it is difficult, in the moments that make you feel useful, alive, and connected. You do not need to have everything figured out. You only need to pay attention. Pay attention to what gives you energy. Pay attention to what feels meaningful. Pay attention to what helps others and helps you grow at the same time.
Ikigai is found when you stop chasing a perfect life and start living a present one. When you wake up with something to do. When your days have a rhythm, not a rush. When your effort feels worthwhile, even on hard days. A life with Ikigai is not free from struggle, but it is free from emptiness. So move slowly, choose intentionally, care deeply, live simply, improve a little each day, and trust this truth. Your purpose is already forming within you, with every choice you make, with every step you take, with every day you show up. That is Ikigai, not a destination, but a way of living.